In 1816, crops failed across Europe, Asia, and America simultaneously, but nobody knew what. Right here in the archives, we have harvest records from that year. Look at these ledgers. Grain yields collapsed by 40, sometimes 50% across entire continents. What makes this truly strange is that no one at the time could connect the dots. Farmers blamed bad luck. Politicians blamed each other. Priests blamed sin. But the real culprit had erupted thousands of miles away in a place most people had never heard of. April 1815. Mount Tambora, in what we now call Indonesia, sits quietly on the island of Sumbawa. Nobody's keeping precise records of volcanic activity there. Why would they? It's a remote corner of the Dutch East Indies, home to maybe 30,000 people living on its slopes. They have no idea what's about to happen. April 5th, 1815, small tremors. Villagers feel them. Some pack belongings, most don't. They've lived with this mountain their whole lives. It's always been their solid part of the landscape. This time, though, something's different, something they can't see yet. April 10th, before dawn. The mountain doesn't rumble, it detonates. The explosion is so violent that people on the island of Lombok, over 200 miles away, think it's cannon fire from an attack. The sound travels farther than any explosion in recorded history. In Sumatra, 3,000 kilometers distant, residents hear it clearly. They check their windows. Nothing, just the sound of the world tearing open. The explosion sends roughly 160 million tons of ash into the atmosphere. For context, that's about 5 times the volume of the 1980 Mount St. Helens eruption. The column rises to a height of 80 kilometers. It's so thick, so complete, that at noon on April 11th, the sky over Sumbawa turns pitch black. Complete darkness at midday. People light torches. They think the world is ending. Tambora's death toll is immediate and staggering. Pyroclastic flows, superheated clouds of ash and gas moving at hurricane speeds, race down the mountainside. The heat is so intense it ignites forests miles away. In the village of Pekat, just below the summit, every single person dies. An entire community erased. By the end of that day, roughly 71,000 people are dead, most from the blast itself, some from the tsunamis that follow. But here's what the survivors don't understand. The worst part hasn't started yet. The volcanic ash doesn't fall back to Earth immediately. Instead, it rises into the stratosphere, that thin, cold layer of atmosphere above where weather happens. There it spreads. Over the next few months, it circles the entire globe. By May 1815, the ash has reached Europe. But here's the cruel part. It's invisible. You can't see it. The sky looks slightly hazy, maybe a bit more orange at sunset. Scientists later realized that particles this fine block sunlight, not in a dramatic way, but steadily, persistently. Global temperatures drop, not catastrophically at first, just a degree or two, but that's enough. Winter 1815 arrives unusually early. In Europe, snow falls in July. In North America, frost returns in June. Farmers across New England wake up to ice on their fields in the middle of summer. They don't know this is a global phenomenon. They think it's local bad luck. They plant again, hoping next season will be better. It won't be. 1816 arrives, the year historians now call the year without a summer. Across Europe, the summer temperature is 3 to 4 degrees Celsius below normal. That doesn't sound like much until you realize that grain won't grow in those conditions. Potatoes rot in the ground. Hay fails to dry. Farmers are left with nothing to feed their animals. Livestock starve. Then, inevitably, people begin to. In Ireland, the famine is catastrophic. Grain prices triple. Bread becomes a luxury. In Switzerland, people are eating tree bark and leather. In France, grain riots erupt in the summer of 1816. Hungry crowds storm bakeries and granaries. The government sends troops. Soldiers fire on starving civilians. It's violence born from volcanic ash, though no one makes that connection yet. Asia suffers too, though the Western world barely notices. In China, the monsoon rains fail completely. The Yangtze River dries up. Drought leads to famine. Famine leads to disease. Historians estimate that hundreds of thousands die in Asia during 1816 and 1817. It's one of the largest famines of the 19th century, and it's barely mentioned in European history books. By 1817, something shifts politically. Governments across Europe are destabilized. Food prices remain high. People are angry, desperate, hungry. In Britain, the Corn Laws tariffs that kept grain prices artificially high to protect landowners become increasingly controversial. The poor are starving while wealthy farmers hoard grain for profit. It's the kind of injustice that breeds revolution. 1818 and 1819, radical movements gain momentum across Europe. The Peterloo Massacre in Manchester, where cavalry charged a crowd of reform protesters, killing 18 people, that's directly connected to post-famine anger. The Spa Fields riot in London, the Cardo Street conspiracy, uprisings in Germany and Italy, all fed by economic desperation rooted in a volcanic eruption 9,000 miles away. Here's the crucial part nobody understood at the time. The connection between Tambora and revolution is completely invisible to them. A radical in Manchester doesn't know about Mount Tambora. A French baker doesn't know why his grain failed. They experience hunger, anger, injustice, but not the cause. History happens in the gap between cause and understanding. It's not until the 1920s that scientists fully understand what happened. Researchers studying ice cores and atmospheric patterns finally connect the dots. But by then, the revolutions have already reshaped Europe. Constitutional movements, expanded suffrage, the slow march toward modern democracy, all accelerated by hunger caused by a volcano that erupted in 1815. So when you look at the political upheavals of the 1820s, when you read about the spread of democratic ideals across Europe, remember, it starts with ash in the sky, with crop failure, with children going hungry, with ordinary people pushed to the breaking point. Tambora didn't just change the weather, it changed the course of human history. Subscribe so you don't miss the next hidden connection that rewrote history.